Attention passionate Atlanta, Falcons fans. Latest news, something big is happening in the NFC South and it could change the game. We're talking about a direct impact on Atlanta Falcons' path to another Super Bowl run, a power shift that could leave a division rival stumbling for years. We're bringing this to you firsthand. But before that, if you're a true Atlanta Falcons fan, subscribe to the channel to strengthen this passion even more. Show that you're also part of this family. Let's help each other reach 1,000 subscribers. Share with your FRINDS and Atlanta, FALCONS FANS. Let's get to the news now, guys. Imagine the following scenario. It's the eve of training camp, and the NFL offseason has been buzzing with rumors, trades, and strategic moves. But one of the most intriguing stories that's emerged recently involves a potential blockbuster trade that could reshape the Atlanta Falcons quarterback situation, and honestly, send shockwaves through the NFC South. And no, I'm not talking about some long-standing veteran or a high-profile free agent. This is about Kenny Pickett, the young quarterback from the Pittsburgh Steelers, and the possibility that he might find himself donning the Falcons' colors very soon. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking. Kenny Pickett? Really? He's still developing, right? And yes, that's true, but what's fascinating about this whole situation is the strategic timing and what it could mean for Atlanta's future. Pickett is currently on his rookie contract, which is a huge advantage for a team like the Falcons that's still trying to build a competitive roster without breaking the bank. Plus, his performance over his first 2 seasons in Pittsburgh has shown flashes of potential, especially when it comes to leadership, pocket awareness, and making smart decisions, things that a team like Atlanta could really benefit from, especially if they want to give Desmond Ridder some competition or even serve as a reliable backup. But let's back up a little and look at the bigger picture. The NFL landscape is constantly shifting, especially at the quarterback position, which is always the most talked about and most unpredictable spot on any team. This offseason, there's been a lot of chatter about teams trying to upgrade their QB rooms. The Cleveland Browns, for example, are facing a tough decision. They've got Deshaun Watson, of course, but behind him, their roster is pretty crowded with Joe Flacco, Shedeur Sanders, and Dylan Gabriel. The Browns simply cannot keep 5 quarterbacks on the roster, so they're going to have to make some cuts, or more strategically, explore trades. And that's where the potential for the Falcons to swoop in comes into play. Now the Browns are reportedly considering trading Kenny Pickett. Yes, the same Pickett who, until recently, was a Pittsburgh Steeler, because they see the writing on the wall. They know they can't keep all these quarterbacks, especially with Watson as their starter. So a trade makes perfect sense for Cleveland, and interestingly enough, the Falcons are now being mentioned as a possible landing spot. Why Atlanta? Well, for starters, they've been looking to bolster their quarterback depth for some time now. Desmond Ridder showed promise last season, but the team needs a reliable backup with starting experience, someone who can step in if Ridder faces injury or struggles. And Kenny Pickett fits that bill perfectly. He's young, on his rookie deal, and has already shown he can handle pressure when called upon. Remember last season, when he played in 5 games for the Philadelphia Eagles as a backup to Jalen Hurts. He threw for 291 yards, had 2 touchdowns, and just 1 interception. That's a solid performance for someone still early in his career. It shows that he can be a game manager, a steady presence in the huddle, and importantly, someone who can develop into a solid starter if given the right environment. But there's more to this story. The NFL is also dealing with the fallout of Kirk Cousins' situation. Last season, we saw how Cousins' frustration boiled over when the Falcons signed him in free agency, only to draft Michael Penix Jr. in the first round a month later. That move seemingly signaled that the Falcons weren't fully committed to Cousins as their long-term solution, and ultimately, Cousins lost the starting job to Penix Jr. later in the season. This was highlighted in Netflix's series Quarterback, where Kirk's emotions and frustrations from that period were vividly portrayed. Now, here's the interesting part. There's speculation that the Falcons might be interested in trading Cousins elsewhere, perhaps to the Cleveland Browns, given his previous connection with Kevin Stefanski, the Browns' head coach. If that move happens, it would open up a starting spot for Cousins in Cleveland, allowing the Falcons to address their quarterback needs more aggressively. And if the Falcons are able to get Pickett in that deal, it would be a win-win. Cleveland gets a veteran they might be interested in, and Atlanta gets a promising young quarterback who can serve as a backup or a future starter. Imagine the impact of that kind of move. The Falcons would then have a solid young quarterback on a manageable contract, ready to develop and possibly take the reins in the coming seasons. Pickett's style of play, his pocket poise, decision-making, and ability to extend plays could fit well into Arthur Smith's offensive system. Plus, having a dependable backup like Pickett would be a big boost for Atlanta, especially if they're eyeing a deep playoff run and want to ensure they aren't caught off guard by injuries or unforeseen struggles. But of course, there are questions. Will the Steelers be willing to trade Pickett? And if so, what would Atlanta need to give up? It's no secret that the Steelers view Pickett as an important part of their future, but in the NFL, deals are always about value and timing. If the Falcons see an opportunity to upgrade their quarterback room without giving up too much, they might pull the trigger. And considering their recent roster moves and draft strategies, it's not out of the realm of possibility. Now, let's talk about Atlanta's current situation. Last season, the Falcons showed glimpses of promise, especially on offense. Bijan Robinson had a fantastic rookie season, demonstrating that he can be a true game-changer in the backfield. Drake London, Kyle Pitts, these are names that fans are excited about, and the addition of a reliable quarterback backup could help unlock even more of their potential. Arthur Smith's offensive scheme is built around a balanced attack, and having a quarterback who can make smart throws and manage the game effectively is essential. Moreover, the Falcons' defense has improved significantly, but the key to their success remains on the offensive side, getting consistent play from the quarterback position. That's why the potential addition of Kenny Pickett makes so much sense. He's young, talented, and under team control for several years, meaning Atlanta could develop him into their future quarterback or at least have a solid insurance policy for Ritter. It's also worth noting that Pickett's experience in a similar NFL system, having played under Mike Tomlin in Pittsburgh, means he could adapt quickly to Arthur Smith's offense. And let's not forget the overall division. The NFC South is looking more competitive than ever. The Panthers are rebuilding, the Saints have a new quarterback, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are also retooling. In this landscape, Atlanta needs to position itself smartly. Getting a young, capable quarterback like Pickett could be a game-changer, someone who can help them leapfrog rivals, make a push for the playoffs, and maybe even give them that extra edge to contend for a Super Bowl in the next few seasons. Now guys, I want to talk about the fans' perspective. You've seen the Falcons' roller coaster over the last few years. The ups, the downs, the near misses in the postseason. But this offseason could be the start of something new, something exciting. The idea of adding a young quarterback like Pickett, who has shown flashes of talent and potential, sparks hope. It's about building a sustainable team that can compete year after year, not just for a fleeting playoff appearance. The Falcons have the pieces, talented skill players, a solid defense, and now possibly a new young quarterback to lead the charge. And of course, this isn't just about football X's and O's. It's about the passion of the fans, the community, and the hope for brighter days ahead. Every draft, every trade, every signing is a step toward that goal. So as we watch this story unfold, it's important to remember that the NFL is a league of surprises. Moves like these can define a franchise's future, and the Falcons are right in the thick of it. Pause here just for a second. If you want the YOUTUBE algorithm to keep recommending the latest Atlanta Falcons news to you, it's super important that you leave a like on this video. Go ahead, it's quick and it makes a big difference. Thank you. Now let us continue with the big reveal. So what do you guys think? If the Falcons manage to pull off a trade for Kenny Pickett, how do you see that impacting their season? Would you be confident with him as a backup or even as a future starter? Do you believe that this move could finally give Atlanta that boost they've been longing for to reach the playoffs consistently, and maybe, just maybe, contend for a Super Bowl in the next couple of years? I want to hear all your thoughts, your predictions, and your hopes. Drop your comments below because your opinion really matters to us and to the Falcons' future. And don't forget, I'll be back soon with more updates, more rumors, and more in-depth analysis of everything happening around Atlanta and the NFL as a whole. Stay tuned, stay passionate, and as always, go Falcons.